Hey dudes! Alrighty, so you want to breed planets, or celestial conjunction as we call it in the Gaudiverse. So you take 2 planets with enough conjunction count, pay the fee, and boom, another planet is born. But how do you make good planets? So in this video, we're going to tackle on birth skills, elemental distribution, and Premal Legacy. A lot of the things that I'll be explaining is available in godling.io/conjunction made by our very own Astariste. Okay, so let's start with the birth skills, and here is the planet that we're going to be using as an example. So here are the birth skills, along with the perks, which are like the passives, and here are the parents as well. So what are birth skills? So birth skills are abilities that are innate to a planet, which they can automatically access without having to go through from the bottom of the skill tree going up. This is air C6 and air C4 and fire C6. So it doesn't have to start at the very bottom just to get there, or you don't even need enough points. So usually to get to the 6th circle, you need at least 90 points to have any of these abilities at max. But having the birth skills would allow you to go even further than level 7. So it's going to be a lot more stronger than the regular default ability. That's also the same with the perks. Alright, so let's take a look at the parents' birth skills. So here are the birth skills: Thunderstrike, Smoke, Fire, Feint, Cannonball, Leap. And as for the other parent, it is Hurricane Slam, the Unstoppable Force, and Rising Sun Slash. So how this works is that you take all 6 of these abilities, and the child will take 3 out of 6 of those abilities, and boom, this is what happens. But look at this. Why did the child birth a Firestorm ability here? So how this works is that there is a 10% chance that a mutation will occur, and the child will have an ability of the same class, which I like because Firestorm is actually equivalent to a mage's Scorch Brand ability, which I have been spamming for a while, ever since the beginning of PvP. So we're going to be breeding this today. But first, let's talk about planets that do not get birth skills that are 3 out of 3. Like for example, this planet only has 2 birth skills. So how did this happen? So this happened because the parents are not the same class. So what happens is that when you breed a Fury, which has Fury abilities, and a Wisdom, which has Wisdom abilities, out of all 6 abilities, when the child chooses a class, it can only inherit abilities from that same class. So there's a chance that this planet can only get 0 of the classes, because instead of getting a 3rd ability from the Wisdom, it got a 3rd ability from the Fury. So that missing ability is a Fury ability. So make sure to not breed planets that are different classes so this does not occur. This is actually a very sad sight to see. So if ever that happens, what you want to do is that you want to breed the missing ability out of it. But there is also a chance that the child can inherit the missing ability, because the missing ability counts as 1 birth skill. All right, so it's still a risk, but I am going to breed it out by breeding 2 of these planets that have, one of them has complete abilities and is also an elemental exordium, this and this. All right, so let's move on to breeding our planets. 9560, it is a virgin, so 0 out of 3. And our elemental exordium, which is a 2 out of 3. So you click on Sanctuary and it takes you to this page, and it also shows you how much it's going to cost to breed the 2. So since this is both a primeval, it's the same cost until it's fully bred, only 10 APRS. And as for tries and quads, for virgins, it's also 10 APRS, but it increases to 30, then up to 60 to the last breed as you breed that planet even more. By the way, this cost is not final. This is only because there's currently a breeding event. So yeah, so this isn't final. All right, so let's go pick out our planets. So it's 9560 and 4050. Let's see, 4051. I'm sorry. All right. So we can choose to breed it with mini black holes. This is the breeding NFT and is already going to be phased out slowly. But if you still own it, you can still breed with it. But now we're going to use APRS because it's such a good deal, since this is only $20 and it already creates a planet for you, which costs around $350 floor. There it is. Initiate. Once you sign the transaction, you get this really awesome animation of how a planet is born in the Gaudiverse here. Yeah, really cool, huh? And boom, a planet is born. All right, there it is. Let's go ahead and check out our planet. And boom. And it also got the Premal Legacy. Let's go. So what does the Premal Legacy mean? So this planet inherited it from 4051. Here, Premal Legacy, lava fields. So it guarantees that the child is going to have a 40% fire if the dominant trait or the dominant element is fire, which is why the child is 40%, even though the parent is around 34%. If it didn't have the Premal Legacy, if it's 40% and then it's 34%, it's going to be somewhere in the between, like 37 or 38. But because of this trait, it will for sure get 40% as long as the dominant is fire. All right. So the time it takes for a child to hatch increases the more times you breed it within the family tree. Now let's talk about the family tree, just so that it's a lot easier to understand what a family tree is. So let's say you have your trio, you have your grandparents. So what's going to happen here is that you are going to breed all of them together. 1, 2, right? So what happens is that you are going to be breeding these together. You're breeding these together to make these two. And then what happens after is that once this hatches, so this is going to be 2 out of 3, then 2 out of 3. So this is going to be a 0 out of 3, but soon it's going to be 2 out of 3. You will be breeding it with this. So this is the same as Axie. If you guys haven't noticed already, this is the same breeding circle as Axie. So you can keep breeding this over and over again. But the more you breed it, the more time it's going to take for it to hatch. It increases every time. So this will hatch in 7 days, and this will hatch in 14 days. So it starts off as a week up to 21 days. So the more generations of this happening, so you can keep breeding, but it's going to take longer for the next children generation to hatch, for you to breed them again. All right, now we're going to be using Big Sword's breeding simulators to simulate what the child's elemental value is going to be. The instructions are going to be here if you're going to be using a elemental exordium or not, because the grandparents actually matter. If you want to donate, if you like it, go ahead. And yeah, so let's get started. So we're going to be using 2 examples, one child with the Premal Legacy, so we can show you how to use that, and also this wasteland that's about to hatch. We're going to try to calculate how we can get this using the simulator. Now, just so you know, it's not perfect because there is going to be a slight error, especially with the rounding up, rounding down with the simulation, but it's the closest that we can get to it. So let's say, for example, how do we get 28, 35, 37? Let's start with both of the parents right here. So first parent, 28, 35, 37. 28, 35, 37, right? Try wasteland. Now second wasteland is 28, 36, 36. 28, 36, 36. So let's look at the grandparents of the first one, 1, 2, and also the parents of the other one later down the line. 1 second. Let's go for Zoe first. 29, 36, 35. 29, 36, 35. Now for the other, 28, 36, 36. 8, 36, 36. Now for the other parent's grandparent, 28, 36, 36. The other is 28, 35, 37. 28, 35, 37. 28, 35, 37. So yeah, it's going to be off by a bit. Now let's look at Premal Legacy. Let's put everything back to 0. So let's look at Premal Legacy, and with the child that we just bred. So how this is going to work is that since one of the parents is a primeval planet, which does not have any grandparents, we're going to change the parent 1's value to 5 and the grandparents to 0 and 0 on one of them. So parent 1 is going to be 40, 33, 27. 40, 33, 27. 40, 33, 27. And the other parent has 34, 34, 32. 34, 34, 32. All right, also an oasis. Now we're going to look at the grandparents of this one. Since this is the only one that has grandparents, we're only going to be inputting that one. 34, 33, 33. So 34, 33, 33. 34, 33, 33. And then the second parent, 34, 34, 32. 34, 34, 32. So this is going to be the outcome if he didn't have the Premal Legacy. Now, let's try to get the Premal Legacy into the mix, okay? So since only one of the parents has Premal Legacy, so we're just going to put it on parent 1. Parent 1 has a Premal Legacy of 40, so we change this to 40, and then boom, 40, 31, 28, and the child has 40, 31, 29. So that's the closest it can get. So it's off by 1, but this is to give you a idea of how the Premal Legacy works, how the weight system in parent 1, parent 2, and the grandparents work. And yeah, I think that explains that part. If you have any more questions or anything else that you'd like to know about breeding, you can DM me or you can put it in the comments. We can make another video about it. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. And okay, thanks. Bye.